In the quiet moments of life, when everything seems still, is it possible to find the courage to rise again? For Maya, that was the moment when everything changed. The moment she decided to break free from her past and take control of her future. Maya stood in front of her apartment window, gazing out at the city below. The streets were bustling with people, yet she felt a deep sense of isolation. The world seemed to be moving forward, while she stood still, caught in the grip of her own fears and uncertainties. It had been 2 years since the accident that changed everything. 2 years since she lost the one person who had always believed in her. Her heart still ached when she thought about him, James, the man who had been her rock. But now, here she was, standing on the edge of a life she didn't know how to live. It wasn't that she didn't want to move on. It was the fear of not being enough, of facing a world that seemed too big, too daunting. She had spent so long hiding from her own potential, afraid that if she tried, she might fail. But something inside her stirred. A quiet voice in her mind urged her to move, to take the first step, no matter how small. Maya knew it was time. Time to stop being a passenger in her own life. With a deep breath, she turned away from the window. She wasn't sure where this new journey would take her, but for the first time in a long while, she was ready to take the leap. Maya stepped outside into the cold morning air. The sky was a muted gray, matching the heaviness she felt in her chest. As she walked down the sidewalk, her mind raced with doubts. What if she wasn't strong enough? What if the past would always be a shadow she couldn't outrun? But then she remembered the words James used to say, "Fear isn't something to run from, Maya. It's something to learn from." His voice echoed in her mind, giving her a sense of purpose she hadn't felt in months. The city was bustling, yet she felt like she was moving in slow motion. Each step felt like a small victory. She was heading to the one place she had been avoiding, the gym where she used to train, the place where she once felt unstoppable. Today, she wasn't going back as the woman who had lost everything. She was going back as someone who was ready to find herself again. As Maya walked through the gym doors, a wave of memories hit her. The familiar hum of the machines, the clinking of weights, and the smell of sweat and determination filled her senses. It was here that she had felt alive, that she had felt capable of conquering the world. But today, she felt like a stranger in her own skin. She made her way to the corner where the free weights were, her hands trembling as she picked up a dumbbell. Just as she was about to lift it, a voice interrupted her. "Maya?" She turned around, her heart skipping a beat. Standing before her was Daniel, a trainer she had once trained with. His face had aged a little since she last saw him, but the warmth in his eyes was the same. "I didn't expect to see you here," he said with a smile, his voice filled with genuine surprise. "It's been a long time. How are you?" Maya hesitated. She wanted to say that she was fine, that she had it all together. But the truth was she wasn't. She was struggling, barely holding on. "I'm trying to get back on track," she replied quietly. "It's been hard." Daniel nodded, as if he understood. "It's okay. It's okay to struggle. But the hardest part is showing up. You've already done that." His words hit her like a ton of bricks. She had shown up, and that was the first step. She wasn't where she wanted to be yet, but she was on her way. The next few weeks were a blur of early mornings, late nights, and endless self-doubt. Maya spent hours at the gym, pushing herself harder than she ever had before. Every muscle in her body screamed in protest. But she didn't stop. She couldn't stop. She had moments when she wanted to quit, when the weight of the world seemed too much to bear. But then she would remember Daniel's words, "You're stronger than you think." Slowly, she began to feel stronger, not just physically, but mentally. With each session, she could see the person she used to be starting to emerge. The woman who was fearless, the woman who could conquer anything. But just as she was beginning to feel like herself again, life threw her another curveball. It was a Saturday morning when Maya received the call. Her heart sank as she listened to the voice on the other end. "Maya, I'm sorry to say this, but your job is being eliminated due to budget cuts. The words felt like a punch to the gut. She had worked so hard to rebuild her life, only to have the rug pulled out from under her. For a moment, everything seemed to freeze. The fear, the doubts, the insecurities, all of it came rushing back. But then, as the silence lingered, Maya realized something. She wasn't the same person she had been before. She wasn't going to let this setback define her. She had come too far to let one challenge stop her. With a deep breath, she hung up the phone. She wasn't going to let this be the end of her story. It was just another obstacle to overcome. She had faced worse before. That night, Maya sat in her apartment, staring out at the city lights. She was exhausted, physically, mentally, and emotionally. But there was a fire inside her that hadn't been there before. It was the fire of determination, the kind that refused to be extinguished no matter how many times life tried to snuff it out. She grabbed her phone and dialed Daniel's number. When he answered, she didn't waste any time. "I'm not giving up," she said, her voice steady despite the storm of emotions inside her. "I'll figure this out. I'll make it work." Daniel was silent for a moment before he spoke. "I know you will, Maya. I've seen the strength in you from the start." For the first time in weeks, Maya felt a sense of clarity. She wasn't going to let fear or failure stop her. She was going to take control one step at a time. Maya's newfound strength was tested when she received a letter in the mail. It was from her old job, the one she had been let go from. She opened it with a mixture of curiosity and dread. The letter was a reminder of everything she had lost. It was easy to fall into the trap of thinking about what could have been, of wishing she had never left. But as she read the words, something clicked inside her. She wasn't the same person who had left that office. The woman who had walked out those doors in defeat was no longer there. This new version of Maya was unstoppable. She was building a new life, one step at a time. And whatever her past job represented, it no longer had a hold on her. The letter may have triggered a brief wave of old emotions, but Maya refused to let it pull her back. She had learned to move forward, to look ahead. One evening, Maya met with a friend who had been a part of her life since college. Her friend, Sarah, had been there through thick and thin, always encouraging her to go after her dreams. As they sat in a small cafe, Sarah asked about Maya's journey. "So, how's everything going? Are you happy with the direction you're taking?" Maya smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "I never thought I'd get here, but I'm doing something I love now. It's not perfect, but I'm building it every day." Sarah's eyes sparkled. "I always knew you had it in you. You just needed to believe in yourself. You've come so far, Maya." Maya felt a wave of gratitude. She had always had people supporting her, but it was her belief in herself that had made all the difference. She realized that self-belief wasn't just about confidence. It was about trusting the process, even when the outcome wasn't clear. The next few months brought new challenges. Maya was offered more freelance projects, and with each one, her workload increased. She had to balance multiple clients, deadlines, and expectations. At times, it felt overwhelming. But Maya was no longer the person who shied away from hard work. She faced each challenge head-on. There were days when she felt exhausted, days when she questioned if it was all worth it. But when she saw the results of her hard work, a campaign that went viral, a brand she helped grow from the ground up, she knew that every sacrifice had been worth it. The challenges didn't get easier, but she got stronger. With every project, she was learning to manage her time, her energy, and her resources. And she was becoming more confident in her ability to deliver. One evening, Maya took a break from work to sit in her favorite park. As she looked around, she noticed the small things: the rustling leaves, the laughter of children playing, the quiet hum of life continuing all around her. For a moment, she let herself just be. She reflected on everything she had overcome, the fear, the self-doubt, the setbacks, and she realized how far she had come. She had started this journey with nothing but hope, and now she had a thriving career, a renewed sense of self-worth, and a deep understanding of her own strength. It wasn't just about achieving external success. It was about the inner transformation. Maya had learned to embrace the journey, to trust herself, and to let go of the fear that once held her back. As Maya's career flourished, she began to speak at workshops and events about her journey. At first, the idea of sharing her story with others made her nervous. But the more she spoke, the more she realized how powerful vulnerability could be. By opening up about her struggles, her failures, and her growth, Maya found that she wasn't just helping others. She was helping herself. Each story she shared reinforced the lessons she had learned, reminding her of how far she had come. People began to reach out to her, thanking her for being so open, for showing them that it was okay to be vulnerable and to struggle. Maya realized that her story was no longer just her own. It belonged to anyone who needed to hear it. As Maya continued sharing her journey, something incredible happened. Her story started to ripple out, touching lives in ways she never imagined. Her social media following grew, and people from all over the world reached out to tell her how much her words had resonated with them. She received messages from women in similar situations, women who felt trapped in their circumstances, afraid to move forward. Maya realized that her journey wasn't just about her own transformation. It was about helping others break free from their fears and embrace the power within themselves. It wasn't easy, but the connection she had built with others fueled her to keep going. She saw that by being vulnerable and authentic, she was creating a space where others felt safe to share their own struggles. And together they were all healing, growing, and becoming stronger. One day, as Maya sat in her home office, she received an email that would change everything. A major corporation had seen her work and wanted to collaborate on a project. It was a dream come true for any freelancer. But for Maya, it was a validation of everything she had worked for. As she read through the email, a wave of emotions washed over her. She had spent years doubting her abilities, wondering if she was enough. And now, here was the proof that she had made it. This opportunity was a reflection of her growth, her commitment, and her refusal to give up. But it wasn't just about the success or the recognition. Maya had learned that the real victory was in how she had changed. She had become someone who faced challenges with courage, someone who no longer allowed fear to control her life. With each new project, Maya's mindset shifted. She no longer saw challenges as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth. Whether it was learning a new marketing strategy, managing a larger team, or taking on a more complex client, Maya welcomed the challenge with open arms. She had learned that growth wasn't just about success. It was about how she responded to failure. It was about being resilient, about getting back up after falling down, and about always learning and evolving. She knew that she would continue to face difficulties, but now she approached them with the confidence that she could handle whatever came her way. As Maya's career continued to flourish, she realized that the journey wasn't about reaching a final destination. It was about the process, the small victories, the lessons learned, and the relationships built along the way. She had come so far, but there was still so much more to achieve. She wasn't done yet. Maya knew that there would always be new challenges to face, new opportunities to seize, and new lessons to learn. But she also knew that she was no longer the person who was afraid of change. She was someone who embraced it, someone who was ready to step into the unknown with confidence. And with that, she took another step forward, knowing that the best was yet to come. Maya stopped by her favorite cafe one morning and sat by the window, sipping her coffee. She had spent so much time focusing on the future, on what was next, that she hadn't taken a moment to appreciate where she was right now. She looked around at the people sitting in the cafe, each immersed in their own world, and felt a sense of gratitude wash over her. She had come so far, and yet she was exactly where she needed to be. Maya realized that the present moment was just as important as the future. It was where she had the power to make decisions, to take action, and to enjoy the journey. For the first time in a long while, Maya allowed herself to simply be. She wasn't rushing toward the next goal or obsessing over the next achievement. She was content in the here and now, knowing that everything she had worked for had led her to this moment. As Maya sat in her apartment, reflecting on how far she had come, an email notification popped up. It was from a former colleague who had moved on to a new venture. They had an exciting opportunity, an offer to collaborate on a large-scale project that could take her career to the next level. Maya felt a surge of excitement. This was everything she had been working toward. A few months ago, she would have hesitated, afraid of the pressure and responsibility. But now she felt ready. Her confidence had grown, and she knew that this was the moment she had been preparing for. She picked up the phone and called her colleague. "I'm in," she said, her voice steady with certainty. This was her chance to push her limits and test her abilities in ways she hadn't imagined before. As the project progressed, Maya found herself stepping into a leadership role. She was guiding a team of professionals, each with their own expertise, and it was up to her to bring everything together. At first, the weight of leadership was daunting. There were moments when she felt overwhelmed by the responsibility. But Maya realized that this wasn't just about managing others, it was about learning from them too. She leaned into her team, trusted their insights, and allowed them to contribute in meaningful ways. Through this experience, Maya learned that leadership wasn't about having all the answers. It was about empowering others, fostering collaboration, and creating a space where everyone could thrive. After months of hard work, the project was finally complete. Maya and her team had delivered results that exceeded everyone's expectations. The campaign had gone viral, and the brand's success was undeniable. As Maya looked at the numbers and the feedback from clients, she realized just how far she had come. She had started with nothing but a dream and a determination to succeed. Now, she was leading a team, building successful campaigns, and changing lives along the way. But for Maya, the real victory wasn't in the accolades or the recognition. It was in the journey, the lessons learned, the people she had met, and the confidence she had built. Each small victory had led to this moment, and she couldn't help but feel immense pride. Maya stood at the window of her office, looking out at the city below. It had been years since she first stepped into this new chapter of her life. And now, as she reflected on her journey, she realized just how much she had changed. The fear that once held her back was now a distant memory. She had faced countless challenges, but with each one, she had become stronger, more confident, and more capable. And as she thought about the future, she knew that her story wasn't over. There were still many challenges ahead, but she was no longer afraid. She was ready to face whatever came her way. Maya turned away from the window, smiling at the bright future that lay ahead. She had come so far, and she knew that the best was yet to come. If you've been inspired by Maya's journey, give this video a like and follow for more empowering stories that remind us that we can overcome anything. Together, join us for more motivational content and keep believing in the power of transformation.